G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat. This will be a very quiet Knackers Yard. Today is Sunday. It's a gorgeous sunny day out there. It's been a bit, rainy and a bit this, that and the other throughout. And I spent the day not on bikes. I spent the day with the family. We just finished watching a Harry Potter film. A bit of tinkering this morning. Frankly, I wasn't going to do an upload because I haven't really got up to a lot. But what I thought I would do is highlight something. Now you see me tinkering with this and belting that on and painting that and this, that and the other, and stripping engines. Stripping an engine, trying to over-grandiose myself there. What I don't really show, because it's not frankly that interesting to watch, but I thought I'd expose it, is what you end up spending a lot more of my time on, and that's thinking, working stuff out, or I say working stuff out, figuring through stuff. So what are you rambling about now? Next big task is going to be putting the engine back in the in Mick, the XJ650. It's easy, you just put an engine in. Well, no you don't, because for one it's fucking heavy. Charlie from the Motorcycle Rescuer channel, who's down the road in Islington, I dropped a hint about him giving me a hand really cheekily. He'd already offered, I'm not being that much of a dick. And he's got in contact and says, when do you want me, mate? I'm like, whoa, I can come early in the morning if you want. Then stop, calm down. That's just typical Charlie. He will always help out. He's just that sort of bloke. But I said, no, mate. I need to work my shit out a little bit first. And by that, I've dug out the old engine mounts. They've had a good clean, or as clean as they need to be anyway. They were thick with oil, grease and years of grime, so they're a lot cleaner. I've got to work out what plugs into what, etc, etc. The only bit that I've really done today is spraying 2 triangles. Say the engine mounts that were really scrappy, they're just black and clean basically. So under the old paint removing head on the grinder, cleaned them off. Put them in the vise to do it rather than the grinder in the vise. For those that know will know. But so got them nice and clean, and they're like loosely mounted, because obviously you're going to have to come off to get the engine on. But it's really just working out what bit goes where and how one bit's mounted to the other to try and remember. Now I got the engine out, for those that can remember, by muscling it out. Excuse me. Much to the derision of 1 or 2 people, but that's the way the book said to do it. So essentially I had it on the centre stand and muscled it out on my own. Excuse me, coughing away. That's going to be challenging to achieve on my own, getting it back in, because I'm going to be more concerned about cuffing fresh paint. Hence Charlie's offer to help. One of you guys has suggested the old put the engine on its side, drop the bike onto the engine rather than the engine onto the bike. I'll have to think about that. I want to have a look at doing it the way the book says. I've tried to remain fairly faithful to the book throughout, and the book and all of the forums and etc. just have a couple of people muscling in and muscling out. I chanced it by doing it on my own on the way out. I don't think I can really do that, on the way back in, but we shall see. One of the key bits, and the only bit that I think I fucked up on getting it out, was muscling it out and then putting it to the floor, and I did, drop it. It did drop further than I would hope, and heavier than I would have hoped anyway. So the main suggestion from all the forums is a milk crate. Now bearing in mind this is a 1980 bike, milk crates were a lot more common then. It's hard to find one now. So what I'm doing is just measuring up and thinking, well, that is 28 to the top. It's a ruler, because I can't find my tape measure. So you're looking 29 centimetres, because there's a bit at the bottom of there. So something around that height and strong, which I don't have. but I could have. I've got enough wood over there, so you know, maybe that's a project throughout the week. You know, and by a project throughout the week, I don't get a lot of time. Well, I don't get no time during the day, but I don't get a lot of time in the evenings. But that's a little thing that I can kind of jump in and out of throughout while I'm doing other stuff. So yeah, always thinking, always planning. The other bit, always thinking, always planning, always shopping. Looking at the footrests. Can't remember which one's which. I mean, logically it would make sense if this is the left, because it's more fucked, because more gear work, etc. You are sliding your foot backwards and forwards a little bit more, but that's pretty knackered. It's the sort of thing that I'm generally not happy putting back on a bike. You know, it is pretty woeful, so I'll be looking for new rubbers. Not really sure I can strip it either, but anyway, we'll have a look at that. I don't really want to be putting those back on a bike, but we're way off pegs, but you know, that's something to be looking at. Mudguard wise, mudguard I believe is an MOT requirement in the UK. Some of you are going to tell me off for drinking shit, but it's what was at the shop, and I'm not picky. And Foster's is what I would refer to as a breakfast beer. Yeah, so mudguards aren't a legal requirement, but I've got the lugs, I may as well use them, is my view. If I wasn't going to use them, I'll take them off. So yeah, I don't know. The one that came with it is pretty horrendous. I mean, for one, it's bright chrome, and I don't really, it's not going to go with the look, but also more importantly, it's well and truly rusted through. So I might just bang a grinder on it to see what happens to it. Failing that, I might look to see if I can salvage the cross piece and then just buy a universal just to then bolt through, or potentially weld it on. Yeah, let's be realistic now, it's going to be a bolt in it, and then, you know, see what happens from that. But I'll have a look at the top first. Probably not now, because I'm not in bike kit really, with nothing else. I'm in flip-flops. But I'll have a look at that. Other bits for the brake, I found the arm. It was in pretty shoddy condition, so that's been sort of stripped off, painted. A bit of polish on the spring just to make sure it's okay. You know, it's little bits like that. Now, I tend to, you know, my last thing on a Sunday is to look at what else needs to be done. Look at the little bits that I can, you know, put in a little basket, put in a corner. And then, you know, if I happen to wake up early on a Sunday morning, as I did this morning, I can clean those up, you know, in the kitchen sink before the missus gets up, so I can tidy it away before she makes a cup of tea. You know, it's little things like that. It's just really just lining things up for, you know, for whatever is next. But next, I think, should be, and I'll do a bit of a negotiation with Charlie, I think, as to when he might be available. But I think the next thing is to try and get the engine back into that frame, which for me will be a major achievement. Not done it before by any stretch of the imagination, not stripped an engine before. No idea if it's going to work. Logically it should. I've followed the book, I've followed logic, I've followed the various advice and guidance that I've got from you all. I think once I've got the engine in, I can't forget that I've got the new plates to put in it. I also can't forget that that basket isn't torqued up as yet, but I will be using the old plates as a torsion bar, so that I can actually get that as a torsion bar, as a spanner, I suppose, so I can get that to the correct side. Then it's all lubed, etc, etc. I don't think I can just throw this loom back on. If nothing else, I don't want to get my paint dirty, so I am going to have to give that a clean, and potentially that's, you know, that's an evening project in the week, is just to, you know, I've got some, where's it gone? I've got some loom tape. Take off a section, probably where it's already ripped. Just visually inspect that there's no breaks, chunks out, etc. of the wiring. Give it a douche down. Cable it up, sorry. wire it up and then carry on, and then just work my way through the lot. And it's one of these things, I probably won't film that. In fact, I pretty much definitely won't film that, because I'm boring myself saying it, let alone filming it for others to see. So, you know, I don't really want to... Oh, I don't know. I've not done it before. Like most things on this bike, actually, I've not done it before. So, you know, I'll see how I feel. But essentially, you know, notionally for me, if nothing else, it's going to be, right, unclip, clean all of the gunk off it, if nothing else, clean all the gunk off it, get it nice and, you know, get it as sorted as I can do, check for continuity where I can, but check there's no breaks in it, etc. Give it a clean off, wrap it up with tape, put it to the side, next bit, next bit, next bit, next bit, and I can do that over sort of 2 or 3 nights throughout the week. So that's probably going to be my week's business, along with working out if I can either beg, borrow, steal, find something that is around 28 centimetres high, about the surface area of that, which is not far off the surface area of the oil sump of the 650 engine. That's going to have to go in it. Get them lined up, get the brick next to it, snurgle it across as much as I can, possibly with a couple of wooden braces across so it doesn't, you know, catch and slide too much. Snurgle it across, move it along, see what happens. That's the plan. The alternative is get the engine out onto the grass, strip some elements of the bike off, probably the swing arm, certainly the 2 wheels, probably the swing arm, probably the forks, more than likely the forks, obviously seat and tank, and then try and lower the whole piece on top. I'm not sure what approach to go for yet, but I'll have a think throughout the week. So, you know, this is partly why I'm filming this, so that you see what I do. Why? This is not a how-to channel. It will never be a how-to channel. I'm not experienced enough, I'm not professional to know how to. I can happily talk through my own thought process, but for those that do similar jobs, tasks, hobbies at home, that might be watching me thinking, well, how wouldn't that do this? You know, noting that I'm not instructing, but how wouldn't that do this? The simple line behind it is lots of thinking beforehand. It doesn't always mean that I get to the right solution, but I hope it means that I don't jump to the wrong one. Right, that'll do me, I think. You know, it literally, you know, I'm filming, how long has this been going? 13 minutes of me talking balls, and I probably spent 26 in the garage today. But that's what it's about, really. It's just working out what, when, what order, etc. But yeah, I'm happy with progress so far. I'm really looking forward to getting that engine in. I'm thoroughly fucking daunted by the process of getting it in, so I don't want to trash everything on the way through. But we'll see how we go and where we end up. But that'll do me for another one. Cheers all, thanks very much. Apologies for the lack of spanner turning in this one, but you know, spanner turning's probably 15%, I think, of a project, maybe even less at times. Cheers all, catch you later. Ta-da. Right, and there we go. Just as I was putting the bike away, the guilt's got the better of me, and I thought, I gotta do something. No, it wasn't. I literally tripped over that and thought, I wonder if that fits now. Yeah, it does. Simple answer. I have accidentally extended that seat, I think, without sounding like Del Boy, the perfect length, because that is not going to cuff or interact. It doesn't have to be at a stupid angle to get it under there. That actually works quite nicely, and I've even managed to save the little hooks on the base of the mudguard to tuck the wires away, which I'm quite happy with. Haven't solved what I'm going to do with indicators yet. The easiest way would be to hang them off the suspension, off the shocks, but that's going to look awful. It's too far forward. It's going to have to come off, I think. Have I still got... Oh, there you go. Sandy. Christ, it's like I prepared. It's going to end up something like that, isn't it? Let's be brutally honest. Yeah, obviously this is an MOT free bike, so I don't have to worry too much about the distance away from them, although the police might if they get bored at any point, but frankly they generally don't. But I'll check on distances, etc. That just looks a little bit too much. Even that looks a bit too much, but I'll check on the measurements and all that sort of thing. But yeah, thought I'd do something. It's only pot riveted in. It's literally, you know, a hole in a pot rivet. It's just really, I think it was Dan Barnes that said it actually, you know, making me feel better about putting the bike together only to take it apart again. And this is mocking it together. This is really working to see whether or not what I think works in the real world. Oh, one bit, I did ask about opinions on tanks and the other tank. The other tank has got a bit of a chunk out of it on the base as to how it will fit. Charlie, Motorcycle Rescue, came up with the whole, well, you're only really going to know once you've got the seat. Well, the slight concern I have with that is they have different profiles at the back here, so I'm going to have to make the seat to fit the tank, and I think I'm going to make it to fit that one. Just got some bit of squareness about it, and actually, you know, it works. It's got a bit of beef, it's got a bit of bulk around it and a bit of boxiness, which I actually quite like. Yeah, that'll do me for another one. I am going this time. Cheers all, ta-da.